I was not breathing. Hello, my name's Betty. I am a spirit pretending to be human, wearing this human costume. And I just left my spirituality group. I have a group of friends. We meet on Tuesday evenings. If you're looking for spiritual community, you can find the Zoom information in the liner notes of this episode of this live. And tonight our topic was, how do you live a life fueled by purpose? And people had so many interesting things to say. And so I'm wondering, anybody watching live or anybody who will watch later, if you want to put in the comments what your feelings are about purpose, or if you've located yours. And a really funny story came up. I thought I'd share it because, I'm funny and relatable in my spiritual journey. But when I first came into spiritual awareness, I was like a homeless drug addict. And I had this really super strong intuition that my purpose was that I was supposed to become an evangelical Christian, travel the world, specifically the country, and preach the word of Jesus and higher consciousness. So my homeless drug addict crackhead ass went to an RV dealership. I went to go buy a motorhome, okay? I walked into this dealership and I was like, hello, Spirit has led me here. I'm meant to teach people about Jesus, and I'm here to buy a motorhome to do that. And the guy was like, okay, great. I just need a copy of your license. And I was like, yeah, I don't have one of those. And Spirit didn't tell me that I needed one. I just need an RV, like right now. And he was like, well, miss, I can't sell you a car if you don't have a license. And I was like, you obviously don't know who you're talking to. I am blessed beyond recognition. I don't need these regular human things. I'm operating on the level of spirit. And he was like, do you have a credit card? And so I handed him a debit card that had negative $300 on it. And I was like, I'll be taking my motorhome now. Anyway, it was just crazy, right? So that's what I thought my purpose was supposed to be. And I had real internal guidance pushing me in that direction. And then, obviously I went into rehab and got some foundation in my life, and my purpose changed. The message changed. It was no longer preach about Jesus and travel the world. It became something else. And, the thoughts are so chaotic in the beginning of spiritual awakening. Everything is coming at you in all these different directions. Your whole head is downloaded with a million different things, and you're just sitting there sifting through all of it, trying to understand it. And for me, it took me a really long time of sitting still, sifting through all the noise to find what purpose meant. And then one day I realized that purpose is not rigid. I'm not inside some little tiny box that tells me what I'm supposed to be. That box is, there is no box, it's like this beautiful circle. It's an infinity loop, and it's got everything inside of it. So at one point the message was, tell your story. And my story in the beginning sounded like a bunch of gibberish. It didn't make any sense. And then one day the words found their way to me, and it became this really beautiful, comprehensive story. Mind you, this is coming from the mind of a person who abused themselves for over 20 years with drugs. How am I able to articulate myself? That's God. That's spirit. That has nothing to do with me. I didn't even have a vocabulary before. I dropped out of high school. I was not a smart person. I was a crafty person. Somehow I found enough money to be an active drug addict for 20 years. So I definitely knew how to talk quickly and con my way into living a life, which I'm sure requires some level of skill and intelligence. But, the way that my life is today, first it was tell the story, then it was write the story. Now it's create community for other people to feel brave enough to share their stories, help the collective in making the extraordinary experiences ordinary experiences. And so I get these great opportunities to do that. I get to host a podcast for IONS. I love doing that, especially when people are sharing their story for the first time. That's my favorite. I love talking to people who are well versed in sharing their experiences too. But when somebody comes out of the spiritual closet with me, I feel like, oh, this fairy godmother. It makes me feel so amazing. I really love doing it. And I love assisting experiencers on how they can successfully share their story in lots of spaces. And we're just practicing. We're just practicing. And even if only one person hears our message, we've done our job. Like, our purpose, we don't know. We don't know who we're affecting. Today I got to sit with somebody who listened to my story, and they just said that it was so filled with synchronicities for them. And I remember listening to spiritual experiencers' stories and having synchronicities be filled with theirs. And I feel really blessed that I get to be that person for somebody today. So anyway, what do you think of purpose? What does it mean to you? Has yours changed? Somebody also brought up the idea that sometimes our purpose is to play the villain in people's storylines. And I know that for a fact in my own. Played the villain in many people's storylines, especially my own. And that's changed for me as well. I'm not saying that I don't ever play the villain. I'm sure some people think that I'm the villain. In fact, I took my niece to some bubble show a couple weeks ago, and some kids spilt candy all over me, and I acted like such a bitch. I probably scarred that kid for life. So that was me playing the villain to somebody. I don't know. I don't have a spiritual ending to that story. Just sharing that I'm not some super enlightened spiritual person all the time. I can still act like a real see you next Tuesday. But before I sign off, I just want to share about something that's going on in my own life, which I'm sure is wrapped up in purpose in some way. But, I've been in recovery from my drug addiction for over 5 years, which is an incredible, incredible thing. I mean, like, drugs ruled my life. Give me a break. They were my whole identity. And I've been in eating disorder recovery for about, maybe 3 or 4 years. And I had 2 years and 9 months of abstinence away from one particular eating disorder behavior. And last week I relapsed on that behavior. And I made myself purge my food. And so I just need to share about it out loud, because the eating disorder fucking hates when I do that. It really, really hates it. And I need to expose it for what's going on. I'm dealing with a lot of issues around self-image. I'm like lying to doctors for weight loss medication. I feel like I have to look a certain way in order to achieve my goals. And I don't think that that's actually true, or my mind is making me think that I don't already look like the person who can achieve the goals. And so, these versions of my addiction or my ego, they live under a bed inside my mind. They're like this monster. And right now, by me talking about it, I'm fucking kicking the bed against the wall, turning it up on its side, and exposing the monster underneath it. Because I don't need it to have as much power as it does right now. I'm scared that, I have like a very healthy fear going on. I'm scared that if my eating disorder can come back like that, who's to say that my drug addiction won't come back like that? And I know that if I use drugs, I will perceive a loss to my spiritual connection. And man, it makes me super emotional. I'm scared. I'm scared that if this one door can open, who's to say that another door can't? And I know that my life evaporated the last couple years of using drugs, and I'm not willing to be a participant in that timeline. And so I'm just going to keep sharing about it until I feel like I've gotten a foundation back in my life. I met with my coach today, and she shared some really great insight with me. And she said something about having acceptance, and she said that, like, imagine a baby. Do they need to prove their own worth? They don't, right? Neither do I. I don't need to prove my worth to anybody, especially not like this ego manifestation that's coming up. Anyway, I just wanted to share about it because, like, oh, it's so uncomfortable to share vulnerable things. I pride myself on being a coach and assisting people on their own healing journey, and I forgot about helping myself. And so I'm getting back into the tools that I know work. I had an appointment with my coach today. I'm reading A Course in Miracles. I'm writing down affirmations. I'm living my life in a state of gratitude. I'm staying in the moment. Those are all things that help me overcome my own adversity that I have in my life. And I'm sharing about it to my internet family. So thank you very much. Let me see if anybody wrote anything in the comments. Just like amazing words of affirmation. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Lives filled with synchronicity. That's totally beautiful. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate all the support that Spirit has led me to with each and every one of you. So I'll leave it there. Thanks, and be wavy.